I'm so glad you tuned in today to watch Real Possibilities. Today we're going to be talking with Michigan's favorite daughter, 50 years of public service, United States Senator Debbie Stabenow. Stay tuned. Thank you so much, Senator. I'm still going to call you Senator forever.
Wow.
Senator
Thank you.
Stabenow for
Thank
being
you.
here. I was just sharing with our audience today that the first time I think I met you, I was a part-time faculty member at Lansing Community College, and you were a commissioner, I believe.
County commissioner. Yeah.
And I called to see if you would come and speak to our class about civics or something, and you said yes. And you came and you stayed, and I got great evaluations at the end of that
good.
semester.
Yeah.
And there's not one time since then that I've called you and you've not said yes.
Yeah,
So I
my
want to
pleasure.
thank you for your 50 years of public service. That's incredible. The first woman elected to the U.S. Senate.
Yeah, from Michigan. Yeah.
Tell all of us, what stands out most about
my
your
goodness.
service?
You know, people ask me that all the time.
Yeah.
And first of all, I've seen lots and lots of change, particularly for women, and most of it good.
Most of it good, yes.
But I've also seen over and over again, whether as a county commissioner, a state legislator, U.S. House or Senate, that positive things happen when people get engaged. But people have to show up and they have to get engaged and make things happen. And then the second thing is you need to work across the aisle to get things done.
You were excellent at that.
You can't get it in a democracy. It does not work to say, I won't even talk to you unless we agree 100%. I mean, I don't know anybody I agree with 100%, including my own family.
Right.
You know? So the key is to find one thing that you can work with somebody on. And then when you get done and you accomplish that, then you find one thing with somebody else. And so it's that, and that's what I worry about most today, is that I'm seeing exactly the opposite of valuing working together. And that's the only way you get things done.
It takes a few good leaders to make that happen, and you certainly were one of them. Why did you leave? We needed you.
Well, thank you. You know, I feel like I've always thought, first of all, that it's really important to leave when you know you can pass the torch to somebody really, really good, which I believe that I could. And I used to joke that I didn't want to stay until they were going, oh my gosh, why didn't she leave? You know, and so I'd rather go out on top and know, you know, have the confidence that I could really pass the torch. And the other thing is my family. My mom, when I announced, was 96. She just passed.
Yes, sorry. Yes.
At 98. And
tell us about her.
Well, my mom was a nurse. She was director of nursing in Clare, up north, about an hour and a half from Lansing. When I grew up, you know, she was the kind of person that had integrity and worked hard and was kind and thoughtful with everybody. But was really a trailblazer, and she didn't know it. I mean, you know, she got a 3-year degree when that was all you could get back when she was going to nursing school. And she was always, you know, a professional and didn't think of herself as some kind of a trailblazer, but she certainly was a role model for me.
I remember you sharing stories while coming home, checking on your mom, but you shared a story that you were in, I don't know which pharmacy it was, and there was someone there getting a prescription for someone in their family.
Right.
And it was so expensive that they couldn't afford it.
Right.
You fought for lower prescription drug prices for 20 years?
Oh my gosh, actually probably more like 30.
Yeah, because I remember that we've got pictures of you.
I did
in Canada.
I rented a bus.
Yes.
And we put a sign, Stabenow RX Express, on the side of it.
Yes.
And we had a whole bunch of folks from AARP that were there, and we had other people, and we went from Detroit to Windsor. And so I said you could go 10 minutes across a bridge and lower your prices by 40%. There's something wrong with that. And so we still pay the highest prices in the world, although finally, I mean, there has been Improvement, AARP has been a part of that. $35 a month insulin,
Right.
although it could still even be lower, but
That's
a big
progress.
step.
That's
a
tremendous
big step.
progress. Yeah.
We passed legislation over the huge objections of the pharmaceutical industry to negotiate prices. And the first 10 drugs, top drugs, most commonly used from Eliquis to cancer drugs and so on, was negotiated lower prices. And the drug companies took President Biden to court to try to stop it, and they weren't able to do that. But this new president now stopped it for him. So this is something that concerns me because we made such progress.
And AARP is all over that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's we even knew before the election, before anything, that we have to continue the fight because you didn't know who was coming in, and just because you've gotten some success doesn't mean it's going to continue. So,
and it was really hard. I mean, for years, I've worked on this issue, and I remember when we did Medicare Part D, and I was very involved in supporting that. But at the very end, the drug companies were able to slip in language saying you couldn't negotiate best price. But that to now, I mean, we were taking on the companies to negotiate, to do $35 insulin, do other things. I counted up 15 drug company lobbyists for every one senator.
I remember you shared that with me before. And when they had the hearings, I never will forget how you took those drug companies to task. I was sitting there watching, go, she's from Michigan, that's our senator. You were taking them to task.
It was like, shame on you.
Oh, yeah.
And at one point I said, why do you charge, the most for Americans of any place in the world? And they were all silent.
Yeah.
And I said, you know why? Because you can.
Right, exactly.
That's why you do it.
And that's why they did.
Which is why there has to be, every other country negotiates best price for their citizens.
15 to every one. 15 to 1.
Yep. Yep.
So for Melissa Seifert, who's our lobbyist, there's 15 people countering.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Now, that's why for every one of those 15 lobbyists, you have thousands of AARP members.
Yes.
Thousands of Americans.
And I think 96,000 phone calls were made within 24 hours when lowering prescription drug prices was not part of the
original.
So that's the power of the people.
Power of the people, and we need to do it again.
Yes, absolutely. So, okay, 50 years. Who is the one person you remember meeting that just that you'll never forget?
Oh my gosh, honestly, so many people.
Yeah, give us some names.
Besides
me.
I've had. That's right. I mean, it all started with you.
Right, of course. Yeah, we're 8 and 12, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've had the honor of, I think, working with 5 presidents. I think. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
And
do you have a favorite?
So many people. I can tell you the person that is my least favorite.
No, don't tell me.
Oh my goodness. But, so many different people. I'll tell you the person that made such an impact on me when I came into the Senate, and that was Senator Ted Kennedy, because it was Ted Kennedy, first of all, and he was passionate at that time about prescription drugs and HMO reform, and that was something that had brought me to the Senate. And so I started working with him on this effort to try to get prescription drugs. What was interesting to me is that someone like Senator Kennedy could just simply go out and make a speech and call it a day. This is a person who would go out and make a speech, then he would go behind the scenes and write amendments. And then he would go to groups and talk about advocacy, and then he would negotiate with the other side, worked with Republicans all the time, worked with President Bush on education reform. And so I said, that's the kind of senator.
And that's the kind of senator you were as well. Who else?
Oh my goodness.
National, international?
I mean, there's just so many people.
It's hard to
I will say that when I was a state senator and newly elected to the state Senate, and I think there were, 2 of us. I mean, when I went into the state house, there were 8 women in the state house, 1979. None in the state Senate, none statewide, none nationally. So 1990, I went into the state Senate, and it was Lana Pollock and myself. And I regret to say I can't remember exactly. There was like 3 or 4 of us. And so I had just gotten elected in 1990, and Ann Richards was elected the governor of Texas,
Yes.
which was a very big deal.
Yes, it was.
And so Lana and I were talking about it and saying, oh my gosh, this is so exciting, and that she was so incredible and stuff. And so at the last minute we said, let's go to her inaugural. And so we literally booked flights and went down, and I will never forget her in like white leather pants and white cowboy boots and cowboy hat, and doing, riding in this parade down the street and hearing her speak and so on. But 1990, 1991,
Yes.
as a woman governor from Texas, it took us a while to get a woman governor.
Absolutely.
We've had 2 great ones, but that was one of those moments that was great.
That's powerful. As a woman, did you face different challenges than
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
all the way up to the end?
They were different. Yeah, they changed, but there's always a piece there. But when I first ran as a 24-year-old for county commission, ran against an incumbent who had tried to close the Ingham County Medical Care Facility, the nursing home. And at the time, it was the only nursing home that took Medicaid. That means for low-income seniors. And so I was very involved. I was getting a master's degree in social work. I was very involved in the community and was very upset that was happening. So I got engaged, worked with a group, led the effort, Save the Nursing Home. So it turned out I was in the district of the commissioner leading the effort to close the nursing home. So everybody came to me and said, why don't you run against him? And I didn't know anything about politics, but I was really mad. And so one thing led to another, and I ran. But he called me that young broad. And the good news was
Did you
the
thank
young
him?
broad beat him. Yeah, I just, But from there going on, I mean, I was fortunate. I chaired the county board, went on to the state legislature, but there are always issues. I mean, when I came into the state house in 1979, they had a committee called the Constitutional Revisions and Women's Rights Committee. And they wanted to just put all the women on that committee and then go on with everything else. Well, I had come from chairing the county board, built a jail, dredged Lake Lansing, had been involved with all this, and I said, I refuse to sit on that committee. And so as I want to sit on the committee that affects my constituents, taxation, judiciary, healthcare, so they disbanded the committee actually that year, and so went on. But it's always been about issues. Certain issues people expect women to be involved with, others they don't. And so, it was my whole life. When I became chair of the Senate Agriculture, Nutrition, and Forestry Committee, particularly some of the old line farmers down the South, it was like, oh my gosh, a woman. She's Midwestern. She's a Democrat. What are we going to do? And
now you're their best friend.
And I just worked hard and supported all of agriculture, even things we don't grow here in Michigan. Yes. Although we have more diversity than any other state but California, but things we don't grow. And but there's always certain issues that women are expected to care about, like child care, domestic violence. And you need to, because one of the things I learned is that if we don't, maybe nobody speaks out. But at the same time, we are affected by everything. And, jobs and manufacturing and taxes and breathe the air and drink the water and healthcare. And so that's always been a piece where there have been situations where I had to keep reminding people of that.
What ran through my mind is how they used to always want the women to take the notes at the meetings.
Oh, yes.
Always be the secretary.
Yeah.
So you could be the same status as someone else, but they look to you to do all the note taking.
Follow through, do the detail.
That's why I don't take yellow pads anywhere I go anymore.
Yeah.
Yes. But things have changed a little.
They've changed. I mean,
a little.
They've changed, although we have to just pay attention. But they've changed. I mean, but we still don't have woman president.
Yeah. Do you think we
had
ever
two different
will?
women. Yeah, but I think it is a bigger barrier than we want to acknowledge, I think. I really do. I mean, there's always other things, but I do think that.
You know, that's interesting because we did a tremendous amount of surveying, and I was looking at surveys, and they didn't ask, are you ready to vote for a woman as president? They asked about other issues, but they didn't ask that one question, which might have been an underlying value of a lot of the people who responded to the surveys. That it doesn't matter what you stand for.
Yeah, I mean, I think that
I
it's
hope
just,
that's not true.
when we look at the current election in Michigan, and Donald Trump won by a little over 1%, you can't tell me that that doesn't factor in as part of it. It was extremely close election across the country. He won like by a sliver, 1% here, 1% there, 1% here, and that, of course,
What
is
will it
part of
take to change that?
I think
Not the outcome, but just a woman as president.
Well, I think we're going to have to keep presenting qualified women to run.
So, something you want to tell us?
Well, yeah. You know, I actually, what I think is when women decide they want a woman president, there'll be a woman president. Women are the majority of voters, and so far, if women wanted a woman, there'd be a woman.
That's
so
interesting.
So the question is,
Yeah, when are we going to be ready?
Yeah.
You know, we always look to someone else to have the power and make the decisions, but we the people.
Women
We the
are the
people make the
majority of
decision.
voters. We're the majority of the consumers of healthcare. We're the majority of consumers of prescription drugs. We are, we are the folks that are the caregivers that are in the sandwich generation between our parents and our kids and grandkids, and so we are engines of the economy. The majority of small businesses that were opened in the last 4 years were opened by women. And so we are engines, entrepreneurs and caregivers. And so when we decide that,
that's when it'll happen.
It'll happen, and it will be when we decide that somebody doesn't have to be perfect. So, right,
that's
the woman's
issue.
got to be perfect,
Yes.
and the man can just be breathing. So
The double standard.
But it really is about, I think, us deciding what we want.
So when you talk about women have made a difference in Congress.
No
Having
question.
women,
No
tremendous.
question.
I've been we've all read about women getting together across the aisle.
Right.
Talk a little bit about the difference that you've seen that when women enter.
Well, we make a point of having regular dinners, bipartisan dinners, which is terrific. It's been one of my favorite things, and it's not about issues. And in fact, we on purpose have not had a women's caucus because we all have different issues, different strengths, different states, and we don't want to be stereotyped like that.
Right.
And so, but we've gotten together for dinners. People just talk about their lives and what's going on. If it's at the beginning of a session and folks are looking, where am I going to live? They've got children. Where are my kids going to go to school? There's just a lot of sharing of information and so on, and people value those friendships. And when we get together in that room, people aren't all voting the same.
Yes.
At all.
Yeah, but there's respect and relationship.
But there's totally respect. And I will say that I think 2 years ago now, maybe 4 years, it was the first time there was an appropriations committee, the entire federal budget, a woman chair, Patty Murray,
right,
and her Republican counterpart, ranking member, Susan Collins. First time 2 women.
Wow.
And we always
Nice.
laughed because it was the first year that it was on time and on budget. So
you dropped the mic right there.
Just like boom, okay, So there's respect. Susan
Right.
and I didn't vote the same way all the time.
Right.
I have tremendous respect for her.
Yeah, relationships. We've got about 40 seconds left. What's next?
Well, I'm going to remain in Michigan. I've been in Michigan my whole life. My family's
so
here.
I can still call you.
You can still call me.
Right.
And I'm going to stay engaged in issues that I care deeply about, certainly healthcare, mental health. But I'm not working full time, so I'm looking for, I'm going to stay involved in things, but at the same time, I've got 5 grandkids and they're growing up, and
That's the
I
balance you
want to
need.
spend some more time.
Yeah, that's the balance you need. What's the number one issue you want to work on?
Well, I want to make sure that what I started actually 10 years ago on comprehensive behavioral health care centers really happens across the country. We have 41 new centers, and we need them in every community.
We'll have you come back and talk about that once you get up
Yes.
and running. I can't thank you enough on behalf of all the people of the state of Michigan.
My
Thank you,
pleasure. My
thank you,
pleasure.
thank you, thank you. Transportation and things to consider. Thank you so much for being here. What are some considerations that people should ponder before deciding whether or not to tell a loved one to give up driving or not? It's a hard decision to make.
Very hard, absolutely. Well, as people age, they often experience diminishing vision and hearing, and also cognition and physical ability. And those are good prompts for whether or not you should give up driving and consider other modes of transportation.
It's hard to recognize those sometimes. I mean, so what are some of the signs that what do you actually see? Someone being impaired and not able to drive.
Sure. Not being able to see ahead and react appropriately to other stimulus that is outside of their control. That's one of the biggest triggers, I think, or marks of diminishing ability for driving.
And sometimes it's probably a good idea to have them look at other modes of transportation before they get to that point so they're comfortable with those. Is that correct?
Sure, absolutely. Another impetus is also the fixed income that most seniors are on, where the ability to afford gas, insurance, and the general maintenance of a vehicle may be a little bit out of reach for them. So that's another sign.
And there are options. People need to apply for it. Those options are like Spectrum and some of those other options.
That's right. And that Spectrum application is reviewed by a third party. It is Disability Network Capital Area, and the application can be found at cata.org/Spectran.
Okay, thank you so much for that. I appreciate you being here today.
Thank you.
We hear a lot about direct care workers. Let's learn a little bit about how to enter that profession and what career paths are available once you do enter it. And to talk about that today, we have with us Bethany. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Now tell us about what you do. You actually train direct care workers.
I do. My name's Bethany Dizer. I'm the Assistant Director of the Impart Alliance. I'm a nurse and a nurse practitioner by trade. And the thing that I get to do the most at work is train direct care workers to provide excellent care, to learn about the people that they serve, and to build a career in this really exciting and interesting field.
So when you talk about building a career, what are some of the steps? You enter as a direct care worker and you need to be trained in that area as well, but then there are other career ladders.
Absolutely. We like to think about a career lattice and a career ladder. Coming into the direct care field, anyone with the enthusiasm, the interest, and the go get them to get into this field is welcome. We want to help people train to learn the skills that they need to be able to provide excellent care, as well as the knowledge that they need to understand the people that they work with and the complex healthcare system they work within. And then within that field, we love to see people advance to be leaders among their colleagues in direct care work, as well as a lot of people go on to be in other fields in healthcare after working as direct care workers.
And is there an age limit on that? Is that for anybody?
I like to think it's for anybody and it's for everybody. We train people over the age of 16 or 17 who want to get into the field and start their careers. And no age limit for sure.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much for what you do, and thanks for being with us today, Bethany.
Thanks for having me.
Do you own a cottage or some property that you really want to protect? David, how do we do that? And if you're an older adult, I mean, there's only a certain amount of time you can really enjoy a cottage.
That's right. That's right. Well, there's a life cycle to cottages, okay? And it's a tragic life cycle way too often. See, when you're a little kid, the cottage is magic. Right. Oh, can't wait to go to the cottage. You learn to swim, you learn to fish, that kind of thing. When you're a teenager,
I don't want to go to the cottage.
Yeah, grandma smells funny. Yeah. I don't want to go, right? You're too cool. When you're a young adult, you don't need the cottage. You've got other things going, okay? But when you have your own kids, a little bit later on, oh, what happened to Grandma's cottage? Oh, we sold it back when you were looking to pay the rent, or something like this, you see? So all too often, what we have are memories of the cool cottage that used to be, but we've got to get through that young adult phase, okay? Right. When you do an estate plan properly, you get through that phase. You prohibit people just selling off. You've got to have everybody, unanimity, everybody's got to agree on that. And what we found is when you plan for that, number one, you don't lose the cottage to the nursing home, which is routine. It's where the family farm is going as well. But number one, we don't lose the cottage, and we preserve it for that next generation. So it can be as magical for your great-grandkids as it was for your own kids.
I love it. What a great story. People never think about that. So hopefully that's news you can use. Thank you, David. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Paul. Thanks for having me.
Sleep, more sleep. We need sleep. Dr. June, how do we get more better quality sleep?
I wish I could answer that succinctly and sweetly, but sleep is different for everyone. A lot of people are under the idea that everyone needs 8 hours of sleep. Now, some people do need 8, other people need 10, some people need 3. So everybody's body is different. Really a good measure of that is, are you functional during the day? Are you falling asleep during the day? Are you looking for naps all day long? You're probably not sleeping very well. You should talk to a sleep specialist about this or your primary care. A lot of the things we get over the counter, like melatonin and other things, are good temporarily, but they're terrible long-term medications because it starts messing with the quality of your sleep. Unfortunately, a lot of people use anti-anxiety drugs, which can be addictive for sleep. They use hypnotics, which is a class of drug which doesn't give you particularly good sleep, although it makes you pass out. Some people, unfortunately, use alcohol, which is definitely a sedative. And that's pretty common to help people take the edge off their day so they can sleep. But again, it really erodes the quality of sleep. So these are questions you should have a conversation with your sleep specialist, who would be able to walk you down why you aren't sleeping, what we can do about it.
And it's not a one size fits all. So
No.
people need to, and you don't want to get addicted to any type of sleep aid.
Unless you absolutely need this for survival, I would say try to avoid addictive medications, especially for sleep.
What would you recommend number of hours?
Oh.
Ideally.
Oh, for me, 14. Ideally, it's like 6 to 8 is good for most people.
Okay. It's amazing, though, when you increase the amount of sleep, if you are feeling sluggish and you increase it just in small increments, how much better you feel the next day.
Absolutely. And a 30-minute nap has been shown to be very, very advantageous for a lot of people. We don't do siestas in this country, but it's shown to have health benefits just to get that nap in.
I think I'll negotiate that next time. Thank you, Dr. June. I want to once again say thank you to Senator Debbie Stabenow, and stay tuned because there's more to come from this dynamic woman. Thanks for watching Real Possibilities.